Welcome back to Driven Daily. It's been a little while since I've given you guys an update, and that's because I've been busy. I've essentially just been working a lot. I've been doing my day job. I did some fabrication for customers over the winter. I pulled the engine, had it rebuilt, and threw it back in the car and swapped out the differential on a Miata. And the differential is the only thing that's been giving me problems. Because of all that work, I've missed the first 2 hill climb events of the season, which puts me out of the class championship standings, I think. But I have another coming up tomorrow, and I'm just gonna go out and I'm gonna give it my best. But in order to do that, I need to fix a problem with the exhaust. So what's happening is the exhaust is hitting the new axles that I swapped to when I swapped the differential. Let me show you what's going on. Okay, so one of the problems that I was trying to solve was this is what a stock 1.8 axle for a Miata looks like, typically. In 94 and I think part of 95, they had a different axle style, worked the same with the same differential, and makes swapping differential a lot easier. Because I've had to take the diff out a few times on this, I've realized just how painful that process is. You've got to pull the hub and you've got to remove the upright mounts, and it really is a pain. It's a lot of extra work. So I wanted to get away from these single piece axles and go to the earlier flanged axles. So these actually have bolt-on flanges. If you want to pull the differential out, you just unbolt those 4 bolts on both sides, push the axles out of the way, and this drops right out. It's much, much easier, much quicker too. So essentially, this could be a low budget, quick change differential setup. It's not quite as convenient as a proper quick change, but it works, it works. The other thing that I did is I took out the open differential that I was running. I was originally running an open differential, and then I went to a Miata Torsen differential. Now I'm running a clutched RX-7 differential inside of the Miata housing. And we can talk more about diffs if you want some other time. Leave a comment below if you are interested in the different types of limited slips and why they matter. So all that is great. It all bolted up great. But when I put it all together and bolted the new axles on, the exhaust turned out to be in the way. These flanges are just big enough as compared to the slick single piece ones that there is no way I could keep the exhaust that I had previously made. It just wouldn't work at all. Those flanges go about halfway through this tube. So I've got to make a new back section for the exhaust. And that's what I'm doing tonight. First, I need to make some materials though. Okay, so my first step was to get some 2.5-inch stainless tubing, just something that's easy to take together. And I don't have a mandrel bender, so I can't get really nice bends out of it. So I threw it on the chop saw and chopped some small slices out of them, kind of like pieces of pie. So these are known as pie cuts, and you can weld multiples of them together. You just really need to clean these up. All those burrs are pretty sharp, and it's really easy to injure yourself. So once they're cleaned up with an angle grinder or a file or whatever, you can weld a few of them together, and you can theoretically get just about any angle that you want. You'll see a lot of welding porn like this. My welds are not going to be all that nice because I'm not spending that much time on this. I need to get it done tonight, and this is the only way I can do that. So I need to cut some more of these. I need to finish cleaning them all up, and I think I should be able to get away with like 4 or maybe 6 of them to clear the whole axle assembly. And we'll see how it fits up. Okay, there we go. I've got 4 little pie cuts now, and I think 4 should be enough. I made 2 more, but I haven't cleaned them up yet, so I'm gonna try to get away with just these. We'll see if they fit on the car. All right, it's awfully dark under here, but hopefully you can see where the metal was starting to wear away just from a couple of laps around the parking lot. And the axle isn't quite fully seated anymore because it got pushed outboard by the exhaust. Hopefully you can see how tight to the body this exhaust was. But that's too tight to the axle. Come on, camera. You can do it. It's too tight to the axle. So I've got to make it either come down or go over outboard so that the flange can go more inboard and the axle can seat correctly, like this one. Okay, so I've spent a little bit of time fitting up the exhaust on the car. Now I'm going to take some of the spare offcuts that I had made that are not as consistent as the ones that I was looking for. So considerably different thicknesses between this and this, for example. And I'm going to do some test welds. This is new material to me. I've never actually worked with this specific 304, and we'll just kind of see how it goes together. We'll see what kind of settings the TIG welder likes with this, and I honestly need a little bit of practice too. I haven't done any welding in a while. So just so you can see real quickly, in case you haven't seen a pie cut before, you can take some straight material and you can essentially form a pretty nice bend. They flow decently. All right, so that about 50 cents worth of material got me a long way with the testing. Most of my settings were pretty far off in the beginning, and I was just blowing through or not even getting a weld started in the beginning. And as I dialed the settings in, they got better. So I think these are the settings that I am focus. These are the settings that I think I'm going to keep. That's a pretty good looking weld that looks good on the inside and on the outside. I should be back purging this, but I don't have any kind of facility to back purge. Some of the other ones looked pretty good as I was getting closer. So that one's pretty good. That's pretty good. I experimented with and without filler, and I think I'm just gonna fusion weld it. Fusion welding is just welding without filler material. It's just an exhaust. It's not gonna see crazy heat in a stock engine Miata, so I think that'll hold up just fine. And after seeing some of the welds that I had done on the previous exhaust, yeah, I think I'll be in great shape. So this is the new section, and all I need to do is weld this end on, 2 welds here, and then this is the tail end that'll go to the muffler, and this is the front end that'll attach to the catalytic converter. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna keep those same settings. And before I get too carried away with the welding, I want to explain this tape. I use gaffer's tape because it's nice and easy to separate down the middle, and it doesn't leave as much residue as duct tape does. So I use this stuff for everything. And I'm using it for this exhaust just to hold things in place, so I don't even need the full piece. I just need a little strip to hold it in place while I weld, at least tack weld, 2 opposite sides to keep it fixed. So I'll do the tack welding, I'll fit it all up, and then I can hopefully do the finish welding and see everything together at the end. So at the end of day 1, I think we're doing pretty well. That looks great to me. It still needs a muffler on the back, and the front piece still needs to be welded onto the flange. But overall, I'm really happy with it. I'm gonna call it a night, and I'll get back to it in the morning. Now it's Friday. It's Friday afternoon. I didn't have any chance to record footage this morning. I kind of missed it because I was head down just working on the exhaust. Now I think I've got it all finished up. The tolerances are so tight on this between the axle and the exhaust that I'm going to use solid mounts for the rear portion. I have a flex pipe in front of it, so I think that'll be fine. I don't think it'll fatigue anything too badly, and we'll see how it goes this weekend. Hopefully it doesn't hit the axle. I don't really think it can. but I guess we'll find out. All right, now I've got to pack this up, go get a change of clothes, hop in the shower, and then I'm off to the race. Okay, the car made it out, and I made it through practice day yesterday. Practice day went okay. There were a couple of mishaps. One was I blew a coolant line and didn't know what was wrong until I got the car back down to the bottom of the hill. And the other was the ignition timing. It was severely retarded. On the Miata, it's supposed to be around 10 or 15 degrees of advance, and it was around 10 degrees in the opposite direction. So I was making no power for the whole drive out to the event. I couldn't even drive up hills. I had to get momentum and then slow down the whole way up the hill in order to make it. But I got here, and practice day went well once I set the ignition timing. And now we're at race day, and I get to put down a proper timed lap. I don't have a camera for the car, so you aren't going to get race footage this time, I don't think. I'll see if I can borrow one, but I traveled pretty light this time. Alright, let's see how the day goes. Okay, so I survived the event. I actually left a little bit early because the weather started to turn south, and I had some pretty bad noises coming from the car on the way home. So I started tearing it down and found that one of my caliper bolts that holds the rear brake caliper on had wiggled itself loose pretty badly. So I sorted that out, and I think the car is ready for the next event now. So it would be nice to wire in the cooling fans and to add a fan for me as the driver, because it is so hot wearing the racing suit and the helmet and the Hans device, and then you're inside a car with no airflow whatsoever. That can be overwhelming, like heat stroke bad. So I'd like to add that in and just keep the car ready, and hopefully I can get to the Datsun soon if this is done. Wish me luck.